In this video, I'm going to be talking about an Air Jordan lifestyle model that I was surprisingly sitting on for some time. I'm going to get to why I'm so surprised that I was sitting on this shoe for so long. It is the Air Jordan 200E, and in this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not it's any good and if I'm glad I ended up buying them. Let's get into it. So I guess to understand why I'm so surprised about me taking so long to buy the 200E, you need to understand the history of the 200E. I'm not sure how official this is, but as far as the silhouette goes and my interpretation, it all kicked off with the Max 200 model that was released a few years ago. That shoe is my favorite lifestyle model from the Air Jordan brand. I think to sum up why I love that shoe so much is because it takes this traditional Air Max silhouette and adds just the right amount of Air Jordan salt and pepper to it to create a really nice marriage between those two brands. It's a really easy shoe to wear, it looks good, and I'm just a huge fan of it. The Max 200 was replaced by the MA2, and while I really liked the MA2, well, I liked it and I still like it, I don't love it as much as I love the Max 200 model. The 200E is what I think replaces the MA2. I say it's what I think replaces the MA2 because the brand seems to still be selling the MA2, but for all intensive purposes, I think the 200E is the evolution of the MA2. Where the MA2 felt like more of a tweak to the Max 200, the 200E feels like a bigger jump as far as the design goes, mostly in the upper because the midsole and what's underfoot really hasn't changed, and that's a good thing. The single feature that is in each of those three shoes, well, each of the three shoes that I'm talking about, including this 200E, is the 200 series air bubble. This air bubble or air unit is one that I really like. I like it because it is kind of like a really traditional looking air unit, but it's just bigger and it has a really nice visual impact without being jarring because it's so oversized. That air unit in the 200E and each of the other shoes is encapsulated in some sort of foam. I'm not quite sure what type of foam they're using in the 200E. It's comfortable enough. It doesn't feel super squishy, super soft, but it is comfortable. The outsole in the 200E, well, in this colorway anyway, is using a translucent rubber, and I think as far as this colorway goes, I really like the use of the translucent rubber because it's got such subtle tones up top that aren't white. They're more like a beige or this light Orwood brown that seems to be really popular with the brand, and this mint green. The translucent midsole just adds that really fresh vibe to the shoes overall aesthetic. And speaking of the upper in the 200E, this is where I guess I've had the biggest problem with getting around the shoe itself. Not because I've got an issue with the material mix, I think the materials are fine. As far as the materials go, there is a combination of leather and textiles, and it's what I would probably call about a 50-50 split. The leather paneling is mostly confined to the bottom half of the upper, around the toe box, midfoot and heel, while the rest of the shoe gets this textile treatment. The textile's nice. I think it adds a level of flexibility and makes it really comfortable on foot. But the issue that I've had is with the way the paneling is done, the colorways that are then applied to the shoe are really easy to get wrong, in my opinion. Especially with the launch colorways, I really didn't like any of the models that were released on launch and for some time after. There seems to be this jarring mix of tones, and they don't seem to work really well with the way that the shoe's paneling is done overall. This model though, in this light Orwood brown and mint green and I guess some sort of grey, works really well. I think because this sort of shoe needs colors that have a more gentle contrast instead of that really harsh contrast between dark and light tones. It is a model that I'm going to say I'm happy I bought. I'm not sure if I would pay the retail price for a pair of these shoes, which is I think $190 here in Australia. It could be $180, but I'd have to double check it, or I'd at least put it down somewhere in the video in one of those little, maybe not flashing, but you know, text thingies. But I guess my point is, it's a great shoe if you can get it at the right price. I don't love it as much as the Max 200, obviously, and if I'm completely honest, I don't like the 200E as much as I like the MA2. It's not a total fail though. I think if you can get your hands on a pair of 200Es at the right price, they're a good buy. They fit true to size, so it's a true to size in like normal shoe language. I think most people who've owned a few pairs of Jordans will know that sizing can be inconsistent. You could probably size down half a size, give or take, depending on the model family that it belongs to, be it performance or retro. The 200E fits like a regular shoe does, so whatever your regular shoe size is the size that I would recommend for the 200E, and it's just a really easy wearing shoe. It just is something a little bit different than the other Air Max shoes that are available. Or if you're after a lifestyle model that does bear the Jordan brand, this is a good option. Again, if you can get it at the right price. This is always subjective though. Like, value is something that will change from person to person. Just because I don't absolutely love these shoes doesn't mean that you wouldn't absolutely love them and would be more than willing to pay the retail price. I'm just talking about what I think it's worth from my perspective. That's just a really long-winded way of saying that I'm really glad that the Jordan brand finally released some nice colorways of the 200E, and now that I've got a pair in my hand and I've had a chance to wear them, I really like them. But then again, it's not really something that surprises me considering the underfoot setup hasn't changed since the first model, and the material mix up top is pretty standard fare. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of the 200E in the comments below, but until the next video, laters.